Amendments coming this year to Ontario's growth plan are of keen interest to municipalities across the Greater Golden Horseshoe. And as is often the case in such matters, where you stand depends on where you sit. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome two sitting mayors for their views, Bonnie Crombie, the mayor of Mississauga, and Steve Parrish, the mayor of Ajax. Welcome to you two. Nice to have you back at TVO.
Great to be here.
Let's start, Mayor Crombie, with this. Is the province growing too fast when it comes to their plans to intensify development in the province?
No. I think they're going just right. In fact, we do embrace the recommendations in the growth plan. Look, Mississauga is going to look a lot different in 20 years than it did 20 years ago.
How so?
Well, there'll be more intensification, there'll be density, but we're embracing it, and we have before. We're building what we call the complete city. We're putting transit in the right nodes, we're putting intensification around those nodes, we're building in transit infrastructure, education. We want Mississauga to be a complete city, a city where you can raise your family, find a high-paying job, you can earn an education, we have premium health care. So it's a city where people want to choose to live, to work, and raise their families.
When you say complete city, you mean as opposed to a bedroom community, which is the way it has been thought of?
Correct. If we continue to grow in the pattern we had been growing, we'll continue to get urban sprawl. And that's not towards the right path. The right path shows intensification in the right places around the transit mode. So we are embracing that density and, yes, building a complete city.
Mayor Parrish, what's the view from Ajax?
Well, I agree substantially. As a matter of fact, I don't think the province is moving fast enough. A lot of us have been concerned that there's been a lot of consultation, and the time now is to act. I mean, this government is within 14, 16 months of the end of its mandate, and they need to get these changes going now. We need intensification. We need it to support transit. We need it to support a wide variety of housing for all types of people who are coming into our area. And we need it because we have to preserve our green space, our natural resources, and our local farm, local food resources in the Greenbelt and the surrounding area around the GTHA. So for all those reasons, we must go forward and we must do it now.
You just heard former Mayor McCallion, who had the job you have right now before you had it, say that she thinks the province is going too fast. She had other criticisms, but let's start with that. You don't agree?
No.
You disagree with Hazel McCallion?
You know what, Steve? I became mayor of Ajax in 1995, and Hazel McCallion was one of my heroes and mentors as a new mayor. And a lot of ability, and just to, the longevity in the position says it all. But I think she's out of step on this. I think that it's a new time and a new era, and we have to have new priorities. And one of them, for years and years and years, we used the water of our Great Lakes indiscriminately, wastefully, and we polluted it, and we just did bad things with it. And now we're realizing that it's too precious to do that to. The same thing is with respect to land in Southern Ontario. There's just it's a very limited resource in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. We must use it wisely, and the present direction with the growth plan, the Greenbelt plan, and the related legislation is the right way to go.
I want to put your exact words to you, which are, he said your predecessor is out of step with the priorities of today.
I have so much love and respect for Hazel McCallion, and I appreciate the wealth of knowledge that she brings. And let's not forget, she was chair of the Smart City panels. But on this one, I think, if we continue to grow according to the density plans that she is proposing, we'll end up with what we have, which was, as you described earlier, large homes on large tracts of land, 3-car garages, wide boulevards. We won't have the transit infrastructure. It is uneconomical. It is not cost efficient, it is not sustainable, it is not environmentally friendly. There is no point converting hundreds of acres of natural space to accommodate single-family homes in the future. We have to accommodate growing populations. Populations are coming into the GTHA. We're a destination point for newcomers. We want to accommodate 4 million people and 2 million new jobs. We're not going to be able to do that with single-family homes. We have to give people choice at different price points, whether that be townhomes or stacked townhomes or condominiums. Owning a single-family home with a double-car garage will be at a premium. Absolutely.
You also heard the former Mayor McCallion say that she thought the Premier wasn't being advised well and was listening to the wrong people. You agree or disagree with that?
Well, I don't know who all the people the Premier is listening to. And as a Premier, everybody's giving you their advice, and everybody thinks their advice is the best possible advice in the world. But I can say that David Crombie, the former mayor of Toronto, led an extensive review and did extensive consultation with all sorts of stakeholders, from farmers to developers and everybody in between. And the government has consulted with municipal officials. I sat as the chair of the Planning and Infrastructure subgroup of the GTHA mayors and chairs that dealt extensively with Bill Morrow's predecessor, Ted McMeekin, and gave extensive advice on OMB reform on the panel.
This is Municipal Affairs Minister.
Municipal Affairs Minister, and gave extensive input on infrastructure planning, the coordinated review, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think there's been really good consultation. When the end product comes out, and I don't agree with everything, I'll say, geez, I wish they'd listened to me more. But at a certain point, governments must govern. They must make decisions. And decision point is now.
All right, let's just, sorry,
I
go
want to
ahead.
jump in there too, if I may, because I've heard Hazel say that she thinks the Premier is getting great advice and has great people around her.
She didn't just say that now.
Well, she has in the past, and in fact, Secretary of the Cabinet, in fact, is an urban planner. So I agree. I was there at the day that Crombie launched the advisory panel. I think there was extensive consultation with numerous stakeholders across the province, and I support those recommendations, and I think they did consult widely.
We should clarify, when people talk about the Crombie report, they're talking about the former mayor of Toronto, not the current mayor of Mississauga.
That is correct.
Even though you two are sort of related, I think, aren't you?
Oh, distantly.
Distantly
I think.
related,
Same
okay.
clan is the.
I did hear former Mayor McCallion kind of threaten the Premier as well, saying that when people disagree with me, there are often consequences that accompany that. Again, what did you think of that kind of language?
Well, let me just say that when she did gather the mayors and chairs together, we participated. I sent a representative. I wasn't able to attend that day because I was on a housing panel with Mayor Tory and Mayor Gregor Robertson that day. That's right. Maybe Don Iveson was there as well. So not all the mayors and chairs agreed. We certainly gave our input, but I know for a fact that at least 6 mayors in the GTHA do agree with the growth plan recommendations, and 2 of them are right here, and there are 4 others, and I won't name them, but I'm sure they'll step forward themselves. So there isn't a consensus supporting former Mayor McCallion's position.
One of the things Mayor McCallion's saying that, and I think she said to you that is not true, is that she seems to represent that a lot of us feel that the Greenbelt plan and the Greenbelt itself is the source of our woes. It's improper. It's keeping land out of the development
Well, let's clarify.
chain.
She wanted development on land in the Greenbelt that is already serviced. I think that's what I heard her say.
Well, that's what I heard her say. I'm not aware of vast tracts of land in the Greenbelt that are serviced, and maybe she can point those out to me. I'm not saying that there's no serviced land in the Greenbelt, but that would be the small minority. Most of the mayors I'm familiar with are very supportive of the Greenbelt plan, and most of us do not think that the Greenbelt is the problem with housing affordability in the Toronto area. Most of us do not feel it's a supply issue. Most of us feel that there are many other circumstances that are driving the prices in the Toronto area. Speculation, foreign investment. A lot of people just don't want to move and put their house on the markets, and a whole range of issues. But there's been a lot of anecdotal and actual studies that have shown that it's not a supply issue. There's plenty of supply out there.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that as well. So we know anecdotally that there have been developers, large developers, that have had, unfortunately, their land may have been serviceable, caught in the Greenbelt, and have taken, gone to the OMB and taken the province to task on attempting to remove those lands from the Greenbelt.
Because you can't build on it if it's in the
because you
Greenbelt.
can't build on it, and they've been unsuccessful. They've been unsuccessful. So I don't know what particular plots of land. Former Mayor McCallion has not suggested to us which land she's speaking of that are serviced, that should be removed. I think there's a consensus among us in the province that the Greenbelt is the Greenbelt. It should be preserved. It's the right thing to do for all of us. And I agree with Steve as well. It's not what's causing the inflation of housing costs. Certainly, we have almost 30,000 units ready to be developed that have been approved, that are in the pipeline right now. And in fact, we have another 30,000 ready to go as a result of these intensification targets. And as a result of the intensification targets, in fact, we're building light rail transit and we're getting more development around the transit and the transit nodes. So.
Okay, you have already said that you don't think an inability to develop in the Greenbelt is causing housing prices to go up. You've both said that. What about intensification? Because you hear this all the time. Because of intensification, that's one of the explanations people are giving for why housing prices are going up. Yes or no, do you think?
I don't think so. In fact, intensification is going to provide, Steve, the housing choices and the housing quantity that people need. My generation are boomers.
Right.
We're empty nesters. We don't need a 3,000 or 4,000 square foot home anymore, and a lot of us are looking to change. And we're not looking to buy another single detached 3,000 square foot home. We're looking to downsize, maybe get an apartment, maybe get the differential of what we sell and put a bit of money in our pocket for our retirement or for those vacations south every winter. So these choices that intensification brings, be it stacked townhouses, high rises, mid rises, etc. This is the driver of much more housing and a much broader range of housing that will suit a wide range of people from in their 80s to their to starters.
We agree once again. We're providing options for people. We're providing alternatives. We have single-family homes. Not everybody wants the maintenance costs of a single-family home. People want townhomes. They want row houses. And yes, some want condominiums. There are seniors who need smaller accommodation. There are millennials who have a completely different lifestyle. They want public transit. They don't want to own a car. They don't want to have the responsibility of a large home. They want a smaller home or a condominium or a flat to share with their friends.
But again, you heard former Mayor McCallion suggest that for her, intensification meant big condo towers. And for her, that was not she seemed to think that they would be going up all over the place, and that was not the way she wanted to see development proceed.
Steve, at the meeting that we had, Bonnie was away at the housing thing, as she mentioned, but at the meeting we had in September of last year, the development industry presented, or it was a previous meeting, but the development industry presented and gave this scenario of high rises and high intensity on the fringes of suburbia, which was taking the numbers in the projected intensification figures and drawing out a worst case scenario and putting that kind of intensification at the fringes where everybody knows that that type of intensification goes in downtown Mississauga, downtown Ajax,
near transit nodes.
major transit nodes, major transit
precisely.
corridors. This vision this story that's been spun by the development industry, which, by the way, has a powerful vested interest in all this, is just fear-mongering to try to herd certain municipal leaders away from these initiatives. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not working. And you know, the development industry is always saying we embrace intensification, we want intensification, but they're also sending a very clear message that they're really digging in against this. And I think when the government has to line up with the future of livable and sustainable development in the GTHA and preserving farmland and preserving wetlands and headwaters and things like that, there is no question, in my mind, no question where the people are on this and where the right thing to do from a policy point of view and from a political point of view is. And you know what? In politics, you don't always get a lineup between policy and politics. It lines up here.
Yeah, good policy isn't always good politics.
Right.
I wanted to say that most of the support letters I saw supporting former Mayor McCallion's position were from the residential developers. So their interest, of course, is to build large SWAT subdivisions across green spaces. That's what they want to do. But when you look at what we have to accommodate the newcomers that are coming into the 905 in particular, you know, these are newcomers coming in. They're not all going to be able to afford single-family homes with two-car garages. We're looking to accommodate along our LRT route 300,000 people and 150,000 jobs. So where are we going to put them? Where are we going to put the 4 million people coming into the GTHA over the next 25 years? They're not all going to live in
Right up here on
single-family
Ontario
homes.
Street.
Right along here, Ontario. They're not going to live in single-family homes. They need options. We all need options.
I wonder if part of the rationale behind this as well is that the cost of infrastructure nowadays is just prohibitive.
That's
and you can't, I presume you can't be servicing suburbs as far as the eye can see. It's just too much to put in sewers and lighting and et cetera, et cetera.
It's not cost effective, it's inefficient, it's not sustainable, it's not environmentally friendly. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. When you look at the European cities we all know and love and visit on our holidays, they aren't designed that way. They're little intense little villages that we all like to visit.
It goes back to the waste argument that I talked about earlier. I mean, sprawl in terms of infrastructure, which you're right is extremely expensive. It's just wasteful to spread out that infrastructure in that way. And you know what? One of the things that Hazel said that I agree with is the government needs to make sure we have the funding as municipalities to put that infrastructure in right, but it's a two-edged sword. We've got to do it efficiently in a compact way, and quite frankly, the government has to amend further the Development Charges Act to make sure that municipalities get 100% of the cost of growth through development charges.
Well, let me jump in here then,
Yeah.
because you're getting a free LRT from the province.
Yes, I
free,
am.
so to speak. Are you?
Well, no, and of course, we're not in the state of development of Mississauga. I mean, our population in the latest census is 120,000.
So it doesn't warrant it yet.
We're building along Kingston Road, Highway 2, which is a major east-west arterial in Durham region, a bus rapid transit, which is a precursor to an LRT.
BRT.
It's a BRT. It'll lead in due course to an LRT, and in due course it'll lead to a subway one day. I don't want to get into the subway debate, but
I hear they're building subways and giving them out all over the place nowadays.
Don't forget, we have a very strong business case for our LRT. We have over 60,000 people that take that route each and every day. So it made perfect sense for it to be 100% funded. It's the north-south spine of what we are building in that regionally integrated rapid transit route across the GTHA.
So can you take us like 30 years down the road then, Mayor Crombie, and you've got your LRT going up here Ontario Street, right from the lake sort of to the border with Brampton, I guess. Is that where it's going to finish? Something like that?
The border, Brampton, unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, in our last minute here, tell us what's going to be up either side of here Ontario Street when that LRT is in?
I'm going to tell you, and I'm also going to tell you what I forgot to tell you earlier, which was if we had grown according to the intensification targets that are set out in the growth plan today, we would still have land banked in Mississauga. We would still have land available to build out our bright future. So what'll go? It'll be a beautiful city. That will be the cornerstone. It will be our boulevard along our LRT. There will be employment. There will be density. People will be able to live, work, raise their families in Mississauga. It's going to be very exciting. We have a very bright future.
I think everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people I talk to agree you've got the two most iconic buildings probably in the whole GTA.
Well,
in
look at
terms
the
of places
growth.
to live.
Look at the growth that the LRT has inspired. Downtown Mississauga, we have the 10 M-City buildings coming up. And if the Marilyn Monroe Towers are the Ginger Rogers, I know you'll get this analogy. The M-City will be the Fred Astaire. So they won't be rounded, they'll be square, but they'll still continue to shift. I have over 20 towers breaking down in the downtown alone in the next 2 to 4 years. And then, of course, I have the OPG lands on Lakeview. I have Port Credit on right down in the marina, and the Imperial Oil lands as well that have gone out to tender, and they're going to be developed. There's so much development going on in Mississauga.
You promise Fred and Ginger will dance well together.
I hope so.
You hope so. Okay. Mayors, Crombie and Parrish, good of you to come into TVO tonight and share your views with us. Thanks so much.
thanks for having us.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit TVO.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.